Mastering Python Part 5. It is a part of the series having 100 plus solved exercises to accelerate the learning. In Part 5, we will discuss about string. String is a sequence of characters which is enclosed in quotation marks. It can be represented using a single quote or a double quote. The common example of creating a string is my string hello world. So here we can ask about the length of the string or can print the length of the string. So we will discuss the programs which are related to the string. The first program in this is to read two words and concatenate them, display the resulting word. So the program will start by prompting the user to enter the first word using input. This text enter the first word is displayed as a prompt and the user can type their response, and this entered word is stored in a variable word1. Next, the programmer prompt the user to enter the second word using this input function again. So here the text enter the second word is displayed as a prompt and the user can provide their input, and this entered word is stored in a variable word2. And then the program will concatenate the two words together using this plus operator. So here this plus operator is used with the strings which performs concatenation, that is joining two strings together, and finally concatenated word is stored in a variable called result, and the program uses the print function to display the concatenated word. The next program is to take a word and display each letter separately. So it has two approaches. In the first approach, it will prompt the user to enter a word using input function. Like we are using the text enter a word and the user can provide their input. The programmer will use a for loop to iterate over each character or the letter in that word. And this loop variable letter takes on the value of each character in the word one at a time. Inside this loop, the program uses the print statement to display each letter on a separate line, like print letter statement. It prints the value of the letter variable, which represents the current letter in the iteration. And the loop continues to iterate over each letter in the word until all letters have been processed. The second approach is to prompt the user to enter a word using this input function, same. But here we will initialize the variable index to 0, which will be used to keep track of the current position of the word. And then we will use a while loop to iterate over all the characters of the word. And the loop continues as the index is less than the length of the word, which is obtained using this len word. And inside this loop, the program retrieves the character as the current index position using word index and assign it to the variable letter, and the program then prints the current letter using print letter statement, and after printing the letter, index is incremented using index plus equals to 1 to move to the next position in the word, and the loop continues until all characters in the word have been processed. The next program is to take a sentence and replace all the letters A with E. So here the program will first prompt the user to enter a sentence using input statement, and the entered sentence is stored in a variable sentence, and then use the replace method of string to replace the occurrence of letter A in the sentence with the letter E. So this method takes two arguments, the character to be replaced A and the replacement character E, and the resulting modified sentence is stored in a variable new sentence. The second approach is using a for loop. So where it prompts the user to enter a sentence using input function, and then this entered sentence is stored in a variable sentence, and also it initializes an empty string new sentence which will be used to store the modified sentence. It uses a for loop to iterate over each character in the sentence. So inside this loop, if the statement checks if that current letter is equals to A, if that condition is true, mean we have found A, the program appends the letter E to the new sentence using plus equals to operator. If the condition is false, indicating any character other than A, the program appends the current letter as it is to the new sentence. The loop continues to iterate over each character in the sentence until all characters have been processed, and finally it prints the results. The next program is to receive a name and check if it starts with the letter caps A. So here it prompts the user to enter a name using input function, and the entered name is stored in the variable name. The program uses starts with method of the string to check if the name starts with the letter A, and this method takes a single argument, which is the prefix to be checked. Inside this if statement, if the condition is true, that is name starts with A, it executes the code of block that prints the message the name starts with A. Else it prints the message the name does not start with A. The next program is to read a word and check if it is a palindrome. Palindrome means if it can be read backwards the same way. So here the program will first prompt the user to enter a word using input function. An entered word is stored in a variable called word, and it will use a slicing word, that is this, to reverse the order of characters in the word. So this slice notation starts from the last character and iterates backward with a step of -1, effectively reversing the word. And then the program checks if the original word is equals to reverse word. So if that condition is true, it executes the block inside this if statement and printing that the word is palindrome. If not, then it says it's not a palindrome. The next approach can be using a for loop. So here it will prompt the user to enter the word as usual. Then it will initialize a boolean variable is palindrome true, which will be used to keep track whether the word is a palindrome or not. We use this length of that word too, using len word. And this program uses a for loop to iterate over the first half of the word, that is up to length by 2. This avoids unnecessary comparison in the second half of the word, as they would be redundant for checking palindromes. So inside this loop, the program checks if that character at index I is equals to the character at that corresponding index from this end of this word. Length -1 minus I. If they are not equal, the word is not palindrome. And we set is palindrome to false and break out of the loop. After this loop, the program checks the value of is palindrome. If it is still true, it means the loop completed without finding any non-matching characters, and thus the work is a palindrome. If is palindrome is true, the program prints a message that it is a palindrome, else it says it is not a palindrome. The next program is to read two numbers or the two words and check if that second word is the anagram of the first. So here it will first prompt the user to enter the first word and then enter the second word. And to ensure the case insensitive comparison and remove any white spaces, both are converted to the lower spaces. The lowercase using this lower method, right? And white space is used and white space is removed using this replace method here. So this program will check if that length of the word 1 and word 2 is equal. If they are not, that means the second word cannot be the anagram of the first, and print that message. If the length of the words are equal, so it will proceed to sort the characters of both the words using the sorted function, which will arrange the characters in ascending order. And the sorted words, sorted word 1 and sorted word 2, are then compared using this equal operation to check if they are equal. If they are, it means that second word is the anagram of first, and the program prints the corresponding message that it is an anagram of first, else it's not. The second approach is more complex one. So here it will convert both words to the lower case, remove white spaces as usual, and then it check that length of the words, and then create dictionaries to count the occurrence of each characters and count the occurrence of each character in word 2. And then it will check the count of occurrence of each character in word 2 too, and check if that character counts are equal, and then it says if it is anagram of that first or not. The next program is to take a full name and display only the first name. So here First, the program will prompt the user to enter their full name using this input function, and the entered full name is stored in a variable full name. And then a split function is used. The split method is used on a full name to split it to the list of names based on white spaces and the delimiter, which assumes that the first name is the first element in the list. And then the first name is obtained by accessing the first element using indexing name 0. And it is stored in a variable first name. And finally, it prints the first name. The next program is to receive a sentence and display the amount of blank spaces. So here we have two approaches. In the first approach, it will initialize the variable to count the number of blank spaces, use a for loop to iterate over each character in the sentence, and for each character it performs the following steps. Like first, it checks whether the character is a blank space by comparing it to the string. If that character is a blank space, the count variable is incremented by 1. And after iterating over all the characters in the sentences, the program prints the number of blank spaces using the print statement. The second approach is using a count function. So here this count method is used on the sentence string to count the occurrence of blank spaces. We pass this braces as the argument to count the number of blank spaces. And the result of this count method is stored in the variable count, representing the number of blank spaces. The next program is to read a word and display the number of vowels in it. So first, prompt the user to enter the word and then define the list of vowels like A, E, I, O, U. And this variable count is initialized to 0, which will keep track of number of vowels in the word. And then use a for loop to iterate over each character in the word, and for each character it performs the two steps. First, it checks the lowercase version of that character. So if the character is a vowel, the count variable is incremented by 1. And after iterating over all the characters in the word, the program prints the number of vowels using this print statement. The next program is to take a full name and display the last name. Previously we had displayed the first name, so we were using the 0 here. Here the same thing will remain, but only a 0 will be replaced by -1. So that is first prompt the user to enter full name, use a split function, and then apply this name -1. That is a negative indexing. So here the last name is obtained by accessing the last element of this name list, and it is stored in a variable called last name, and finally display the result. Okay, thank you.